Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the International Agenda presented by the BJ Show. As always, I'm your host, Aidan Barry. Let's get straight into some international sport from around the globe. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks, and we're going to get straight into some ice hockey. We have the Four Nations face-off. We're going to talk directly about the final because that was one of the classics of international hockey, on par or close to the 2010 Winter Olympic gold medal match. Before we get back to covering the race to the NHL playoffs, let's have a chat about the Four Nations face-off final between Canada and the United States of America. And this was a classic to go down in the history books. And with hockey coming back into the Winter Olympics in 2026, this was the perfect, absolute, on-point tone setter for that. Now, this game, Canada won 3-2 in overtime, but we'll get to how we got to that point. We'll go through the goal. First period, Canada opened the scoring with Nathan McKinnon from Harley and Reinhardt, putting them up 1-0. 5 minutes into that first period, halfway towards the end of the first period, Brady Tkachuk comes back and gets America on the board 1-1 from Austin Matthews. Second period, it was Sanderson for the USA at about a third of the way through. Assists from Matthews and Werenski. Canada come back 7 minutes with 6 minutes to go in the period. At the 14-minute mark, it's Bennett from Marner to make it 2-2. Then we had a very, very hotly contested third period. Shots at both ends, chances at both ends, but nobody put it in the back of the net. And now we go to some overtime. Now, in the Four Nations, it was going to be, for the final, 5-on-5 sudden death hockey. First goal wins as usual, so no 3-on-3s in a shootout. 5-on-5 20-minute periods until there was a goal, and we did not have to wait long. America started the overtime hot, and Biddington, the goalkeeper for Canada, made save after save after save on Matthews, and then Eichel saved as well. And then Canada finally had an opportunity in their zone at a face-off. They win the face-off. It comes out, it goes around. McCarr, Marner, McDavid, Canada win the Four Nations on that goal from Connor McDavid. And Canada, as I said, were probably the best team in the tournament. USA, probably, I said they'd come last. I was wrong. Rightfully second. They played very, very well. I thought the Swedes had them. I thought the Finns had them. I mean, the Finns were nowhere. The Finns lacked across the board. They had a lot of key players out through injury due to the season. Sweden couldn't get the numbers going when they needed it, and that's how they ended up outside of the final. But now let's talk about the 60-game point. We are at the 60-game point for some teams. Teams having 22 games to 24 games in their back pocket to try and make the play. Well, now, we're not going to go down each division like we have previously because it's time we start eliminating some teams or cutting some teams out of contention. But we will start, as always, with the Eastern Conference, and we'll come back to the Western Conference. So in the Met, we have the Caps with 58 games played, 38 wins, 12 losses, 8 overtime losses for 84 points, and Alexander Ovechkin is chasing down Wayne Gretzky. Day by day, he is getting closer. He is now 12 away from the record. So they are 84 points on the board, and Alexander Ovechkin 12 away from the Great Ones record. Second in the Met are the Carolina Hurricanes on 33 wins, 21 losses, 4 overtime losses, 70 points from 58 games played. They are a half game clear of the New Jersey Devils, who are through 59 games, 32 wins, 21 losses, and 6 overtime losses, for also having 70 points. That is quite a comfortable top three. The Blue Jackets have fallen off a little bit. They're down at 64 points, but we'll get to the wild card in a minute. We come to the Atlantic. The Maple Leafs lead. The Toronto Maple Leafs 1 point up with a game in hand. They are 36 wins, 20 losses, 2 overtime losses, 74 points through 58. 59 games played is the Florida Panthers. 35 wins, 21 losses, 3 overtime losses, 73 points. And now Tampa Bay are 3 points behind the Panthers and 4 points behind the Maple Leaf. They are 2 games up on the Panthers, 1 game up on the Maple Leaf with 57 played. They are 33 wins, 20 losses and 4 overtime losses in that time. They have 70 points to their name. We now have a look at the standings for the Eastern Conference wildcard position. So top 2 wildcard teams will go through along with the top 3 division leaders. So in the Eastern Conference, teams who I think are a genuine contender, we have the Detroit Red Wings, who are in the Atlantic on 66 points with 58 played. We have from the Metro, the Columbus Blue Jackets on 64 points, 58 games played. And then we have the Senators from the Atlantic on 62 points, the Rangers from the Met on 62 points, the Bruins from the Atlantic on 62 points. So I think that's the safe zone, as those 5 teams are in with contention of sneaking into a wildcard position in the Eastern Conference, obviously alongside the top 3 in the divisions who automatically qualify for the playoff. We'll go down and have a look at the Western Conference and see who we have there. We'll go to the Central. Central is led by the point-leading Winnipeg Jets. 58 games played, 41 wins, 14 losses, 3 overtime losses, 85 points. In second, it's a big gap to second, but it's the Dallas Stars. 58 played, 37 wins, 19 losses, 2 overtime losses, 76 points. In third in the Central is the Minnesota Wild on 58 games played, 34 points, 20 losses, 4 overtime losses, and 72 points. In the Pacific, the Golden Knights have 58 games played, 34 wins, 18 losses, 6 overtime losses for 74 points. In second is the Edmonton Oilers, 58 games played, 34 wins, 20 losses, 4 overtime losses, 72 points. And this is where it gets really interesting in the Pacific, because the Los Angeles Kings have only played 55 games, so they have games in hand, but that does mean they have a heavy schedule coming home. Through those 55 games, the Kings are 31 wins, 17 losses, 7 overtime losses for 69 points, but they are 3 games up in the back pocket on both the Oilers and the Golden Knights. In the East in the West for the wild card, first is the Colorado Avalanche from the Central Division. 59 games played, 33 wins, 24 losses, 2 overtime losses, 68 points. From the Pacific is the Calgary Flames. 57 games played, 28 wins, 21 losses, 8 overtime losses, 64 points. In third, the Vancouver Canucks from the Pacific. 57 games played, 26 wins, 20 losses, 11 overtime losses, 63 points. In fourth, and sneaking to get into the playoffs, is the former Arizona Coyotes, the Utah Hockey Club. 59 games played, however, 26 wins, 24 losses, 9 overtime losses, 61 points. And the final team who I believe has a good shot at contention for the wild card is the St. Louis Blues. 59 games played, 27 wins, 26 losses, 6 overtime losses, 60 points. So at the stage of teams coming up to their 60th game and having about 22 to 24 games on average in their back pocket, that is how the NHL is shaking out as we move closer and closer to the playoffs. It is now time to do the same to the NBA and go through the standings in the for the playoff positions and the play-in position for the NBA.
Pulls up, three-pointer, bang, bang!
Much like I just did with the NHL, I will do the same with the NBA. I'm going to start counting down the teams who I think are a genuine chance to make the play-in or the playoffs for the NBA, and we will start again with the Eastern Conference. So, NBA, Eastern Conference, leading the Eastern Conference, again, it's a 60-game check-in, just like it was in the NHL. So, leading the Eastern Conference through 58 games played is the Cleveland Cavaliers for 48-10. So, I think Cleveland are an odds-on bet to take the East at this point. I couldn't see anyone coming after them to get that number 1 seed with whatever the amount of games is left. But in second, Boston, I think Boston are a safe second, 42-17. Third is New York. Again, I think they're a safe third, 38-20, 10 games back. And then we come to the teams who, again, I think are safe, which just depends on the order that they finish in. So fourth at the moment in the East is the Indiana Pacers, 33-24. Fifth is the Milwaukee Bucks, 32-25, and 6th is the Detroit Pistons, 33-26. So I think in the East that if we really, with the gap to them and the play-in teams who I'll get to in a minute, which we'll see, the East top 6 I think is settled. I think the only thing to really worry about is the way things shake out in that second 4 from 4th through to 6th. The East play-in teams are a gap behind, about 4 games behind. They are starting in 7th. The Orlando Magic 29 and 31. In 8th is the Miami Heat 27 and 30. In 9th is the Atlanta Hawks 27 and 32. In 10th, the Chicago Bulls 23 and 36. Two teams who I think would genuinely still have a shot at making the play-in are the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. Brooklyn are 21 and 37, Philadelphia 20 and 38. It is safe now to eliminate Toronto, Charlotte, and Washington. We'll go over to the Western Conference and do the same. First up, leading the Western Conference and probably safe to be the West one are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Second in the West are the Memphis Grizzlies, 38 and 20. Tied second in the West are the Denver Nuggets, 38 and 20 as well. Just going on record, Memphis is above them on the table. Fourth in the West is the Houston Rockets, 37 and 22. Fifth in the West, and a team who I expect to make a run, and they could end up second, is the LA Lakers, 35 and 21. Sixth in the West is the Los Angeles Clippers, 32 and 26. Now, the West is a lot more contested than the East. I feel like everyone out of Memphis, Denver, Houston, and the Lakers could end up finishing in any of those positions 2 through 5. That could shake out differently depending on how games go. But we'll head to the Western Conference play-in where it's a lot tighter than it is in the East. 7th is the Minnesota Timberwolves, 32 and 27. In 8th, the Golden State Warriors, 31 and 27. In 9th, the Dallas Mavericks, 31 and 28. In 10th, the Sacramento Kings, 30 and 28. I feel like the West play-in is set. It's just the question of, do the Clippers fall into the play-in in replacing the T-Wolves or the Warriors, or does that play-in remain as it is and the positions just move around because everyone's within a game and a half of each other? Sitting just outside are Phoenix and Portland. Phoenix 27 and 31, Portland 26 and 33. Sacramento, Wemby's been shut down for the year, so I think we can take them out of the equation. They're 24 and 33. And then down the bottom of the West is the New Orleans Pelicans 15 and 43 and the Utah Jazz 14 and 44. So we can safely say that I feel like the playoffs are coming down to 12 or 13 team races in each conference, and it's now a matter of who picks up the slack now. Any team who goes on a big run at this point could see themselves advancing their position, especially if another team in those playoff or play-in positions falls at the same time. Things are going to shake up there. But that is the NBA wrap for now. Now it is time to introduce something brand new to this show. We're going to be discussing motorsports. We're going to have NASCAR. We're going to have the WEC. We're going to have the WRC. We're going to have V8 supercars. We're going to have Formula 1. We're going to have MotoGP. We're going to have anything else. We might have the IndyCar as well. We're going to have anything else, anything motorsport we're going to talk about on this show that's happening around the globe. We're going to get straight into some NASCAR because the Americans down in NASCAR land, they have their biggest race of the year as their first race of the year. It's the Daytona 500. And this year it was won by William Byron in the 24, the number used by Jeff Gordon in the past. And it's always good to see the 24 number doing well. Still looks very similar to when Jeff drove it. And it's always a good car to say up the front. Race 2 was won by Christopher Bell. So we're starting NASCAR series. It is going to be, as it has been, the chase happens after the first 26 races. It is win and you are in. So, in the chase so far, we have William Byron and Christopher Bell. We're going to have the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix this coming weekend at Austin, Texas. We're going to see who wins that. NASCAR's road course races tend to throw up a few outsiders to win and get some good points on the board. We'll see how that goes. But we will come back to NASCAR every now and then to see who's got themselves in the chase. And then as we get to chase time, come end of the year, come August, September, we're going to be talking every week, every race about the chase for the Cup. We're also going to have a look at some WRC while we're here. And their season started as well. They've had the Rally of Monte Carlo and the Rally Sweden to start their year. Rally Monte Carlo was won by Sebastian Ogier for the Toyota Gazoo World Rally Team. And Rally Sweden in the snow. We all love Rally Sweden in the snow. It was won by Elfyn Evans, also of the Toyota Gazoo World Rally Team. Formula One has just begun their pre-season testing, so we'll have a look at that next time here on the international agenda. But for now, we'll keep it there for Motorsport for this week, and we'll catch up with all the series across the globe all over the year. And with that, that's everything I have for you today. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. My name's Aidan Barry. This show is presented by The BJ Show. You've been listening to the International Agenda. Thank you and goodbye.